We are back, boys and girls. No, okay. Slim, mute your mic.
Yeah.
Thanks. Alright, cool. So, we're back. The matchup we're going to stream, we're going to stream Springs versus Jono. I want to put up all the standings right now. If you could, are you on the account, Adi? If so, if you could like message
Yes.
in, please.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find.
Jono should be under JonoTV. Okay, so here are the standings currently. Oh wait, no, here we go. Here are the standings currently. We have all the players are at 3-0. We have 1, 2, 3, E4, 5, SpringsVGC, O, Jono, Spectacle Daydream, and Galactic. Now, if any of these players win their next round, they're automatically in cut. So I think the plan is we're not going to stream any XOs unless if there's like a really good match that's going on. So yeah, but yeah, most of these players are XO right now, and if any of these guys win, then they'll be in cut because cut's a hard X2. So it looks like we actually have a match about to start. So yeah, let me pull it up real quick. God dang it.
And so Springs is one of the top Korean players. Is of course a top European player, get regional champion.
Right.
So these are two players who have been very, very consistent over the last couple of years, and I'm excited to see them play.
Right. JonoTV having three regional top cuts. One of them actually being a win, and we also have Springs. I'm not too sure what he's done personally, but I know everyone's saying he's a good Korean player. So
top 32 at Worlds a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And I believe that he made day 2 Worlds this year through the Korean circuit, but I'm not sure about that.
Okay. That's good to know.
And he's got a really cool team of Ray Ogre with Togedemaru and Tapufini, Sakataka, and Incineroar. And Jono is, of course, running Zernala with Crobat, Kangaskhan, Incineroar, and Tapufini as well.
Right.
No Lunala mirror this round, thankfully.
Right. For once, yeah. Everyone seems to be running Lunala. We actually see a Kangaskhan Lunala lead and an Incin Kyogre lead from Springs. We do see Fake Out. Are we going to see the Z move? We're probably going to see Z move into Kyogre, actually.
The Z move into Kyogre doing a ton of damage, and Kyogre goes for Water Spout, breaking the Shadow Shield, but not doing a ton of damage to other Pokemon.
Right. I'm writing stuff down, so if you want me to talk, you can.
And so, going right into it, Incineroar in mid Pokemon and potentially predicting a Moongas Beam into the Kyogre. However, Jono chooses to double into the Tapufini thanks to its Pinch Berry, and goes back up to 60% health. Jono going for a hard double switch into his Incineroar and Xerneas combination, and Springs also just getting a heal pulse off onto his switched in Kyogre, full health.
Right. And we also we have to consider what kind of position is Jono is right now. He just switched in his instant and he has fake out pressure. So he could go for a fake out on the Fini, predicting a haze and try to Geomancy and try to stop that. However, the question is, does he want to lose his Incineroar? And does the Tapu Fini go for haze here? Because it's already got rid of his berry, right? Yeah. The berry's already been down, so he does go for the fake out on the Kyogre. We do see a Geomancy. And
we see an
Icy Wind, okay. Which is interesting.
And so we don't know what the Tapu Fini's full moveset is. We've only seen Icy Wind and Heal Pulse so far, but both could have been effective there. However, going for a Geomancy in front of a Tapu Fini is always a risky play just because you don't know ways to deal with Xerneas.
Right. Let's see.
In this case, Jono just goes for Moonblast, gets rid of the Tapu Fini, and we see Kyogre reveal Icy Wind as well, removing all of Xerneas' speed boosts.
Right. However, it's still going to be a massive threat just because the Xerneas is like base, what's it called, base like 99 speed, which is pretty much outspeeds everything on Springs' team besides Rayquaza, which he does have to watch out for Rayquaza in the end game. But he's still, but he's still in a decent position right now, going for the fake out on Instant, being the faster fake out, and going for a Moonblast on the Kyogre while the Kyogre protects. So yeah.
So one thing we did see a little earlier was that the Kyogre is actually faster than the Xerneas. We saw that on turn 4 when Kyogre flinched. So now Kyogre can potentially get an attack off before getting Moonblasted. However, because of Xerneas' special defense boost, it doesn't look like it's taking a ton of damage from either of the Pokemon on the field here.
Right. I could totally see a double up into Instant, just because he didn't go for the fake out turn 1, so he could potentially like have Roar, but having Roar like could be not his best interest. Obviously, he switches in Instant actually sacking that Mon so that he could get in another fake out, which he could have also gotten another fake out with Kyogre, but he doesn't put on as much pressure as he does with Kangaskhan on the field.
Right. And I'm curious what Springs has in the back. The Moonblast does pick up the Incineroar, hitting on both the Incineroar and Xerneas set.
Right.
Was not a guaranteed. Our point of view as spectators, and we do see the Rayquaza come in, likely outspeeding both their Pokemon, putting a lot of pressure on the field.
Right. Which let's see. He just sprouted in, so we actually see the Kangaskhan actually be slower, or sorry, be faster than the Kang, but also slower than the Xerneas. So it's actually super interesting that happened in that turn of events, because now we know speed tiers, so that the Kang realistically could just keep going for what's it called?
Right, and one interesting thing is that tiers correctly. Adamant max speed Rayquaza speed ties with max speed base 100s like Kangaskhan.
Okay.
And so that could have been a speed tie. It's definitely not Jolly Rayquaza, because if it were Jolly Rayquaza, it would always outspeed the Kangaskhan.
Right. It could also be bulky Xerneas. Realistically.
And it very likely is bulky Xerneas, just judging from how it took that dragon to set.
Right, exactly. Was it Life Orb Rayquaza? I don't think it was.
There was no Life Orb recoil. And generally speaking, from what I've seen, if Rayquaza tend to be choice banded, that didn't look like choice band damage, or it's just a very bulky Xerneas.
Right. It could be like bold, but it also could be choice band damage, but he'd just be like super, super bulky Xerneas, which this team, it kind of looks like it could be super, super bulky Xerneas.
And it also could be an Assault Vest and Rayquaza that doesn't have max speed investment.
Right, exactly.
Speed tie. And
it looks like it is an Assault Vest though, since he just goes for a fake out and Z on the Rayquaza, which typically Rayquaza take the Z pretty well, but because it didn't, we can assume that it's not. But now we actually see a decent-ish position for Jono. His Kangaskhan is at -1, and it threatens things with Double Edge, but it doesn't threaten things with the Double Up. So like he can't realistically go for a Moonblast, a Double Edge, but he does actually reveal Haze, which we were wondering about earlier.
Right, and just preventing the Geomancy, of course, Jono decided not to go for Geomancy and instead going for Moonblast, putting up some damage onto the Tapu Fini.
Right. Now, just because the Xerneas isn't Geomancy, the Kyogre is actually in a pretty good position right now because if it's a bulky Xerneas and if it's a faster Kyogre, then the faster Kyogre could get like reliably get water spouts and things like that off, like just because it's faster than most of the things on the field. And also the Feeny also has heal pulse, so if you try to go for like a Moonblast, and if you try to go for a Moonblast on Incin, then or not an Incin on Kyogre, then he just heal pulse. But he actually goes for the fake out and Geomancy play. Smart play.
Very smart play for Springs by not going for the water spout and instead bringing Incineroar in for that Geomancy play by guaranteeing that he can get Haze off the next turn.
Right. And now it's kind of in the same position as earlier, but except the Kangaskhan isn't at -1 now, so.
The Xerneas no longer has the pressure to click Geomancy.
Right.
So this is an interesting board state. Kyogre threatens everything on Jono's team. However, without speed control, it is outsped by the Kangaskhan.
You actually see another Geomancy. Oh my. This is actually another Geomancy coming out. It's actually so good for Jono right now because now Jono pretty much has to predict which Mon he'll switch in because the Feeny realistically needs to come in next turn and haze away his boost, but because he does have fake out, or he doesn't have fake out pressure, but he does have double edge pressure, and just because he has a double edge pressure, he can kind of
the water spout does not do nearly enough.
Right. And we do see the Geomancy, and then now we see the Haze. Now we see the Feeny come in, but the thing is, like, if Feeny and Kyogre are both in pretty much Dazzling Gleam range, so we can assume that this game's over. Also, Rayquaza died pretty much turn 1, so.
Right. Yeah. And then after Rayquaza died, Jono just said, "Hey, who's going to do any damage to Xerneas? Nothing's going to stop me."
Yeah.
And set up in front of everything.
Right. Setting up that Geomancy that turn was actually so good just because he knew that both of his Mons like on the field couldn't pressure Xerneas enough just because the Kangaskhan's faster. And yeah, we can just kind of see that taking full effect. And we do see the Deacon Gleam come out, so and the double
that
edge.
All goes back to that really smart trade turn 1 where he decided that he was happy to trade Lunala for Rayquaza.
Right.
The only thing that could really stop is Xerneas and getting the clean 2-0 because of it.
Right. And now, with Jono winning both games, we now have Jono and Cut, but Springs need to still win one more in order to get into Cut at X2. Because all you need is 4 wins. So.
Do you still have something to play for? The top few players in Cut will most likely get a bye into the top 8, but
right
to Jono from guaranteeing a spot in top Cut.
Right. We'll be back for the next round, or if there are any more matches going on. So stay tuned.